Hey, and welcome to my video. My name is Nina, and today we're going to be working on my residential services. Now, full disclosure though, I have filmed this video, I don't know how many weeks ago. It was probably one of the first builds I did on this island. I just kind of never got to editing it, and I don't even know why. I did an island update tour the other day, and at this point I had basically only done my entrance, so we have a bunch of empty space. And yeah, so this is the space that I was intending to use for my residential services, and yeah, let's just hop right into it. Now, for this build, it's gonna be a bunch of terraforming because I wanted this area to be kind of sunken, obviously, because you can't move rest services in another spot. So for obvious reasons, you can also not just move it up on a cliff. So I decided to do a very cute, sunken, foresty, natural, fairy-like area. And there will be timestamps down in the description box below for those of you who are not too interested in seeing me terraform a bunch of cliffs, so I will put those down below. But for those of you who are, I'm now building up this outline, and then later I am going to be filling in all of the space that we have kind of created, just so that I can get a rough sketch down kind of the space that I'm probably going to be needing. And then with the magic of editing, I just filled all of this up. Just imagine if we could bulk... No, I'm not gonna talk about bulk buying, bulk crafting, because that's what all of us want. But how cool would it be to have a bulk terraforming tool, or a filling bucket, like you get in those painting programs where you can just fill in an area? How amazing would that be? Or at least a 2-tile or a 4-tile shovel that fills in numerous amounts of tiles, But yeah, then I'm just continuing to build up this cliff all around the right side of the structure as well, so that it's kind of be fully tucked in. Now I'm going to be partially removing some of the cliff because there is going to be nooks, and I wanted there to be a little space that kind of looks through to resident services, because I will later be placing a bunch of trees and flowers and just decoration, and it looked very cute and kind of mysterious in a way, like having a little foresty alleyway, if you will. You could also just say it's a canyon kind of, but And yeah, then I will just continue to build up the cliffs. Some of them will also be removed later on. And I'm also not going to be decorating too much onto the right-hand side, because I'm later going to be placing a villager house up there, but not in this build. So I kind of decided to not do that today or that day, because I was not sure who was going to move there and what I was going to do with their house. And then, inspired by my main inspiration and joy in this community, Kato, she was using the red steel staircase, and I have been eyeing the blue steel staircase for this island, but I was kind of scared to use it because, it's kind of a controversial... Can a staircase be controversial? You tell me that right now in the comments. Well, it's kind of a controversial thing to use the steel staircases, I feel like, in the more natural parts of this community, But I have been eyeing that because it kind of matches the blue glowing items in this game very well. So the blue, I'm not sure, I don't know the names of all the star fragments, but the blue, almost tealish star fragments, and also the blue versions of the mush lamps kind of have a similar blue tealy tone. And while I was explaining all of that, I have started to plan out my trees and also added in some waterfalls at the back, because I thought it would be cute to have them kind of peek through the foresty area. And I wanted this whole thing to feel like it was actually part of a forest and very tucked in, cozy, just secluded kind of, even though it's absolutely not secluded. There will be a bridge later on, there's the steel staircase, and it's very accessible. But then I continued to add in a little stream of water also to the front, which will peek through whenever I place my nook's cranny and decide to decorate that, because as of right now I have not done that, so you haven't missed too much. Actually, you didn't miss anything. I just hadn't completed the areas that I have now at the point where I was filming this video. Who allowed me to talk? Yeah, and then I was fidgeting with this waterfall all the way to the left side of the build quite a bit, because at first I was like, this is looking kind of weird, but I kind of want the waterfalls to be very natural. But then, yeah, it just felt very off, having the waterfall kind of split over a corner, and this was not going anywhere. So I eventually decided to just create a little river and connecting the two cliffs kind of with water. So having the waterfalls that I already did for my entrance, continuing them up onto the cliff that we have right here, then down again, having a bridge lead across in a bit that we will be placing in a bit, and then having the waterfall go onto the other cliff again, because I don't know why, I just like to connect my water sources. Yeah, I just think it looks more natural, and it also looks very nice on the map, you know. And yeah, then I was like, meh, vielleicht. I just went full on German there. Maybe the cliff shape is the problem. So I will end up removing a bunch of cliff and also kind of toying with the idea of fully enclosing this part of the build, so that all of that will be gone. Now I am finally continuing with the bridge. So I'm waterscaping this diagonal river, which I'm still quite mad about, that the bridges always need to be a bit wider when you want to place them on a diagonal river. So I needed to extend that river even further and remove some of the cliffs, which is just great, because obviously terraforming and waterscaping is absolutely not time consuming, and especially not if you need to close and reopen the terraforming app. I know that you don't have to close the app, but I just prefer that. Jesus, I have been fidgeting with this waterscaping for way too long. But yeah, then I finally found the perfect spot for the bridge, paid off Lloyd, and then with the magic of editing again, we will have the bridge here in 1, 2, 3. Wow, isn't that amazing? I love the stone bridges so much. Then I was just fidgeting a bit more with the cliffs, and then eventually we will actually start with the decoration part of this video. Also, I'm so glad that you can plant trees right next to rest services. Like, you don't need to leave a blank spot, and I really appreciate that, because that would take up way too much space. So I was just planning out my trees and then planting them. And then also continuing the tree planting and planning and planting process onto the back part of rest services, so that it looks very cozy and foresty and very natural. Then going onto the cliff. And then we eventually finally got to the shrubbery and flower part. I think in this video I'm only showing like me adding in white, purple and blue flowers, but I later then went back in and added some yellows, because I want to make my island more colorful, because I really enjoy the it's not monochromatic, but it was kind of, you know, and I was really enjoying the cool tones, but I kind of wanted it to feel more whimsical and colorful. Yeah, so I will not show that in the end of this tour, because you won't see it in the build, so I thought it would just be very weird. And yeah, now to the left here, I'm just adding a garden wagon and a barrel and just some decorational items, because I thought they would be very cute and it filled up the area very nice. So again, it felt very tucked in. And then Daisy decided to stand in my way for, I shit you not, it was 20 minutes of her reading there. I mean, she did get up sometimes, but then she just kept wandering to another spot in like underneath the trees there and just plopped down again, which is amazing because you can't push them away, and I also don't like to push my villagers. So yeah, that was just amazing. And then I added in some more of this very cute mossy pathing, which again, I'm not planning to use like a straight V-path trademark pathing style on this island. I wanted to just look like a path that had been trampled in kind of over the years. So there is no like dirt path or gravel or stuff like that. It was just kind of run down over the years, like just some like trace paths. if that makes sense, where the fairies just have their main paths to go. Jesus, count how many times I said paths. Anyways, to the right side, we are adding a little log bench setup where we will later be plopping some presents for whenever we release the dream address. So yeah, that will probably be here. And I'm still deciding on whether I will give a ladder, because I usually actually don't, because the places that are not accessible on my island are intentionally inaccessible, and I want the visitors to kind of roam around this island naturally and the way I intend for it to be explored, kind of. I mean, there will be paths splitting up, but I still have like certain paths that I want people to go. And yeah, back here I was just adding in some more vegetation, if you will, and some very, very natural items and weeds, just because I wanted this part specifically to look like it was leading into a forest, even though yes, I know there's a cliff back there, but I wanted it to just feel like it was just kind of continuing on and was part of the forest, so that this build was placed right in the forest. Now to the front here, this is the part that you will be able to see when you are standing by nooks. So I wanted it to kind of feel like the back part that we just designed, so very, very natural. In my other builds, you have also seen me use some more lived-in day-to-day items, like in my picnic setups, we use like food items or cushions. I mean, I do add a pile of Zen cushions here. This island is not going to be all natural items, as you have probably already seen if this is not your first video of mine, but for this part specifically, I wanted it to be very natural. Obviously there is the garden wagon and the barrel and the bench, but I wanted it to be mainly very natural, just for the simple reason of it being tucked away in a forest, and to keep that theme going across, kind of. The only issue with this was that the space all the way to the front was very tight, and you also could see even less of it than you had in the tight back spaces, because there was this cliff that was covering half of it, so it was very hard to decorate there, and I was just kind of trying to fill it up without it completely covering up rest services, even though that would probably be the best thing, because rest services, to be honest, really is kind of an eyesore, and it's not the prettiest building if you're doing a natural theme. I do think it's quite cute, and it's one of the better buildings. I also really love the tailor shop, like the Able Sisters, but yeah. And then around the steel staircase, I just added this little angled signpost so that people know where the airport is, because I know that some people, when they dream of an island, like to start at the entrance, and that's also me. I like to do that as well, just to get like kind of a structure in my head. And also many people design with the intention of having people start from the airport, so I wanted to add that little sign there, and I also did add the little angled signpost leading to nooks a bit earlier, as you probably saw. And yeah, then I just sprinkled in some more custom designs, some more little details onto the cliffs as well. And so yeah, that shall be it for today. I'm going to leave you now with a montage of the finished product. If you enjoyed this video, I would very much appreciate it if you like and subscribe to my channel. I would absolutely love to have you here. And yeah, take care of yourself. Until next time, and bye bye.